Want to learn how to edit video like a pro during lockdown? Then this video is for you. In this video, you're going to learn to take your editing skills to the next level with the Rule of 6 by master editor Walter Murch and author of In the Blink of an Eye. With credits including Apocalypse Now and the Godfather trilogy, he's done a few things. Be sure to watch this video until the end, where I'm going to be sharing a bonus tip with you from In the Blink of an Eye, which is just as important as the Rule of 6 if you're a director who sometimes edits their own work. If you still need convincing about how powerful editing really is, then take a listen to this guy.
Well, I got so desperate on Terminator 2, trying to shorten that film to a manageable length, as we all understand that to be, that I said, well, wait a minute, do we really need all these frames? If we just took out one frame every second for the entire film, we'd shorten the film by a couple of minutes. Let's just do it as a test. We'll take a reel, and we'll take out one frame in every 24. And the editors looked at me like I was nuts. Let's just try it. Come on, nobody's ever done this. We took out one frame in every 24, and it was a mess. There were jerks, there were things, there were cuts in the wrong places. You totally saw it, and it just didn't work. Every one of those individual frames was important. Once you know that as an editor, now you get scared for a while. It's like, geez, am I cutting here or am I cutting here? But then after a while, you start to realize that there's great power in that.
For Walter Murch, the perfect edit should satisfy all of the 6 following rules. How does the cut make the audience feel emotionally at this point in the film? Does the cut advance the story in a meaningful way? Is the cut at a point that makes rhythmic sense within the scene? Maybe the most difficult of all the 6 rules to understand, but essentially, how does the cut affect where the audience is looking at that particular point in time? Probably you've heard it referred to as the 180-degree rule. Does the cut satisfy the established line of action within the scene? Does the cut uphold the 3D space that you've established within the scene? As Walter Murch says himself, upholding all 6 rules with one cut is really difficult to do. So, if you find yourself having to sacrifice any of these rules, sacrifice back from 6 through to 1, always preserving the emotion at that moment in time. So let's put it to the test. Here we are inside Adobe Premiere. What I have on the timeline is scene 2 from To the Edge, and what I've already done, I've added marker points for each of the cuts that have been made when editing the scene. There are 20 cut points and the scene is about 1 minute 20 seconds long. What we're going to do, we're going to move through the scene and we're going to apply Walter Murch's Rule of 6 to the editing decisions that have been made. If you haven't already, it's probably a good idea to check out my video on how to direct dialogue scenes like a pro, where I'll give you a little backstory about the characters, but essentially just for a quick recap for anyone that hasn't seen it. Okay, Max is on his way to school and in the car we have Pete and Nico, who are 2 drug dealers, and these 3 characters are about to meet for the first time in this story. I'm just going to start playing. Okay, so as Max wipes through the shot, we reveal the car for the first time. Moving forward to edit point 1, what I'm going to say is that straight away that all the cuts satisfy rules 5 and 6, axis, the 180-degree rule, and 3D space. Eye trace isn't used to a great extent in this scene because it becomes a standoff, although there is one cut at the end which does use eye trace. The 3 that I'm going to focus on, and the ones that Walter Murch identified as being the most important, are rhythm. Is the cut rhythmically right? Story. Does the cut advance the story? And most importantly, and the one that you should always uphold, is the emotional tone of the moment. With this edit point, what we're doing, we're establishing both axis and 3D space. It's the first time that we see these 3 characters together, and there's a definite distance between Max and the 2 drug dealers. The 2 drug dealers are framed in the mirror in this way because the first time they appear on screen, I didn't want them to be fully seen by the audience, creating an air of mystery around these 2 characters. I'm now going to use the down arrow and forward to edit point 2. Now this is a good edit point to talk about the concept of rhythm. This is the first time that these 2 unsavoury characters are entering Max's world and they're also invading his world, so the cut is meant to feel jarring, it's meant to feel invasive. So moving forward to edit point 3, this technique is used in one of my favourite films of all time, Jaws, which is a screen wipe. Max wipes through the screen. That's been used to reveal the Pete character for the first time. Again, it serves the emotional tone of the scene. It serves the story because we're revealing not only Pete, but we see Nico get out of the car, which will become important for the next cut because we've now established these 3 characters within the 3D space. So moving forward to the next cut, to cut point 4, which is the first time that we see Nico, we've already seen him get out of the car. We physically don't need to see him walk all the way around the car. Our brain will fill that part in. You've probably noticed he's not in perfect focus. Now, this decision was made for the purpose of emotion and for the purpose of the story. It would have been very easy to cut a few frames later where Nico's in perfect focus. These characters, I wanted them to appear in Max's life. Moving forward to edit points 5 through to 10. In my other video, How to Direct Dialogue Scenes Like a Pro, I covered the way that I directed the scene and how it was blocked on set. And as you'll see from looking at these edits, that the shots have now changed to medium close shots, specifically with the purpose of ramping up the emotional exchange. And if we look now at the rule of 6, it's pushing the story forward because we're beginning to see the true nature of the developing relationship between these three characters. They also enhance the emotional tone, specifically for Max, and it's why we cut back to him twice within this series of edit points. Moving forward to edit point 11, this cut point is a pivotal moment within the scene. From this point, the emotional tone of the scene becomes much darker for Max and the audience. If you look at the shots, you'll notice that the shots have now been tightened into close-ups, again to enhance this claustrophobic feeling. And when you review the edit at the end of the tutorial, have a listen for the way that sound design has been used. This kind of unhinged laughter of Pete introduces this cut. This particular shot and his laughter is called back to in a flashback in a much later scene. At this point, it enhances the emotional tone. It's pushing the story forward, and rhythmically it jars. It's kind of a reflection of Pete's character. Edit points 12 to 16, the tightened close-up shots. You can notice here that the rhythm also changes. It slows down, and that's purposefully done to elongate this moment of tension before there's a release at edit point 17, where now Max is much further apart from Pete and Nico in 3D space. As I mentioned at the start of the tutorial, the shot which follows edit point 18 is the only shot which satisfies eye trace, with Pete pointing to direct the audience where Max is making his getaway off screen. And with the final cut, edit point 20, we're back with Pete as the scene ends. So there we go. We've applied the rule of 6 retrospectively to the 20 editorial decisions which have been made to construct this scene. So let's have a look at the scene and we'll see if it works.
Here it is, little Max.
Sorry, Pete.
You need to be more careful, lad.
How are we, kid? You alright? What's happening?
Still cracking on with that school.
When are you going to give all that up, lad? Come make some real dough with us.
Nah, Nico. This lad's got talent. Still in that band with our Kev, aren't you?
Yeah. Little band lad, yeah? Little mini John Lennon lad, yeah? Listen, I've got to go, yeah?
We do. Off you go.
See you soon, lad, yeah?
Hey! You ever want to make any real money? Know where to find us, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, let's go.
Also in the blink of an eye, Walter Murch shares his important idea of seeing around the edge of the frame. If you're a director, DP or filmmaker and you're on set and you work like hell to get a particular shot, you're going to become emotionally attached to the process of what it took you to get that particular shot. When shooting finishes, if you move straight into the edit and then become the editor, you're still going to be emotionally attached to the process of getting the shot. This connection to the emotional process is not going to allow you to see exactly what's in the frame, but rather you're going to be looking around the edge of the frame. As an editor, you just want to be concerned with what's physically within that frame. That's going to allow you to pick the best take for the scene, for the sequence, and for the film. If you are having to edit your own work for a particular project, when shooting finishes, as Walter Murch suggests, make sure you take at least a couple of weeks break doing something that's completely unconnected where you're not thinking about the project. Then come back to the project later with fresh eyes so you can look exactly at what's in the frame rather than seeing around the edge of the frame. And that's it for this video. I really hope you've enjoyed the content, and if you have, please click the like and subscribe buttons, and in the comment section below leave a comment with your favourite editors, scenes and cuts of all time.